and he tells me, fanya hivi, mimi nimetumwa kwako, lakini naona uko na familia ndogo, you take care of the family, achana na hii mambo ya nje.
Kutumwa kukuua?
Yeah. The sad thing about death ni you die today, we print your t-shirts, the next 3 days, next week we are back to our offices.
Politics means people will be killed for doing what is right.
They have sexualized even how people now campaign, right? And you see people cheering.
I don't think there's any woman who can run to be a politician and she does not get called malaya.
Kuna wengine wanasema wanaume wa nguvu ni wakwenda zaidi ya shot 2, si ndio?
Maybe before you.
And then they equated that to 2 town.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying, mango jinga nyinyi. It's all of us.
Yeah. So do we need to be radical? Hi guys, welcome to State of Her podcast. My name is Elizabeth Odondi.
And I am Judith Juma.
And for this podcast, our tag will be moving past minimums
Towards real equality.
Karibuni.
Mpaka mmetrain. Nikisema USM hii. Wow, I love it.
Oh, God.
I love it.
So today we have 2 wonderful guests. So one of them is a guest, and then the other one is helping us co-host. And we are happy to have them, and we'll want them to introduce themselves because we are honored and we want them to speak for themselves. So, karibuni. We'll start with the person on my right.
All right. Thanks for having me. My name is Kingwa Kamencu. I am a writer. I have a background as a journalist. I was in politics some years back, and I'm a poet. And I guess a bit more about me will unfold as we go on in the discussion.
Perfect. And to my left?
To the left. People call me King Kaka. I wear many hats. I'm a businessman. I happen to rhyme for a living. Rhyme once for a living. I run an entertainment agency called Kaka, where we nurture talent. I'm a creative person. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So today we are going to be speaking about sexualization of women in politics. And King Kaka here gave us a brilliant idea to play some videos of the political people, tusemaje, wanasiasa, wakiongea, and maybe now we can start the conversation from there.
Yeah.
So I'll play a few videos, and then now we can make commentaries and start from there. Okay. Perfect.
Huyo mama ako sawa, si sawa? Ako sawa. Hata vile alivyo, akipinduka mnafurahi siku zote. Wapi vikelekele ya huyu mama? Huyu mama akiwa kwa kitandani si unalala kabisa, Utaamuka kesho ingine, sio? Atoshi.
So even as you watch the video, what time did you realize that politics is actually affecting your life? Like, when did you realize that politics is important and it affected your life? Anyone can start.
So in relation to the video?
No, we can just start with that and dive, yeah.
Politics and how it affects our lives.
I'd like to start.
Sure.
As you think about
Please.
it. I take it back to 2007. I was a young student going back to school. We had serious violence countrywide in this country. And I remember on my way to a county called Homa Bay, which is in the Nyanza region, our vehicle was attacked. And we were told to get out of that vehicle, plus the driver, or else it would be death for us. At the time, I think I was still in my teenage years. Definitely, I was scared. And after a bit of bribing of the driver, we were allowed to proceed to Homa Bay County. But what followed when I got to Homa Bay County is that I could not, after all, go back to school. and I could not travel back to Nairobi home. And therefore, that meant I was trapped. I did not have relatives around, and it was a challenge for me to find a place that I would go. That is actually the day I faced violence, politics, firsthand, and I realized that it affects me at a personal level.
Yeah, wow. For me, it's very different. So I grew up, my father was in the civil service, and that impacted our life in a very big way because we grew up in privilege. My dad was an ambassador, he was a permanent secretary. But one thing that happened that changed our life in a big way, because we grew up with this whole thing of this family. And in Moi's days, those days, like a permanent secretary, like a chief, like anyone in government, in civil service was a big deal. So, but at some point, my dad lost his job, one of those Moi, the radio, whatever, announcements, and his name is not there. So that changed our family in such a big way. You know what, when Bitangen Demo talks about the phone calls stop, like the fall from grace in quotes. So my dad ended up moving back to the rural area. And so it was a big difference. It was such a big difference in terms of our living standard. So it's so different from your experience because, of course, the level of weightiness of what you went through, it was so different. But I think it's been interesting. It was so interesting for me to understand how politics affects people on an individual level, on a family level, and how that shaped an individual. If that had not happened, I'd be a very different person right now. Because when that happened, like we were forced to downscale, went to boarding school in Shags for the first time. Like we actually became Kenyans. Like for real, before we were like there are people who live in this country, like they're not, they live a life like first world people. So that shaped us in a very big way. I think I'm kind of grateful for it. In a way, it made me just get real and just really get to the ground of Kenya. Another way then politics later shaped me on was a friend of mine in 2009. A friend of mine got killed. We were in campus politics with him. So I don't know if you do you remember something called the Oscar Foundation? So in 2009, they had been carrying out investigations of young men in central Kenya who had been extrajudicial killings. And so Michuki had issued a shoot to kill order. So they were helping the UN rapporteur on EJEs get witness statements from the families of the boys who had disappeared. So my friend worked for the Oscar Foundation, and so him and his boss, they were killed in broad daylight on University on it's called State House Road. And he was a comrade. He was like we were in student leadership together. So seeing that you actually would kill, like politics, because of politics, somebody that I know personally can be killed. Like it was so shocking because we were doing activism together. We're doing a lot of youth activism. And so it was very jarring that politics means people will be killed for doing what is right. And I felt so like it was so wrong because he was Luo, and he's fighting for the rights of Kikuyu men. So it was like so jarring that I realized that there's something wrong with our politics, and that's actually even what made me get into national politics. So previously I'd been in student politics. I was in Ford Kenya, but later on I ran for the presidency because I could just see that there's something wrong with this system, that whereby young boys are joining gangs because there's no jobs. And you're not creating jobs. Like instead of creating jobs, the solution is let's kill these boys. So that's when I realized that there's something wrong with our politics. So I was really very interested in how do we change this from a system level, which is why then I got into politics. So that's a very broad overview.
Yeah. I think we'll come back to that. For you, King Kaka?
I think mine was directly and indirectly, mostly indirectly because minim so Iceland, right? And in Eastland, so we grow around poverty and it becomes part of us and we think it's normal, right? because now later on I realized company systems are not in place. I have very sharp friends who have gone through the system.
Yeah.
The system when I mean universities. And when politicians say we are creating this number of jobs, what do they really mean? Well, so when I realized most of the things and systems are not working based on resources being mismanaged, then I realized, kwa hivyo shida yetu ni hawa politicians, you know. So that's my first encounter, and mi napenda nchi yetu, right?
Yeah.
That led me even to do a song like Wajinga Nyinyi, you know. I was like, I was pissed. I was like, yani there are people who can change the course of how we live, and they're just living their own lives, you know. So that changed my perspective, and for a very long time, even politicians know any. Many mtu naweza sema anything to even in front of them. I don't care, because I know they're part of the problem and the solution to how we should live as Kenyans. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think for me, it's the same as Judith. I was in high school, 2007 to 8 post-election violence. And at that time, it didn't affect me personally as in I faced violence. But I remember going back to school and hearing that so-and-so can't come to school because something happened. Some people lost their parents. And at that point is when I actually started writing. So that's when I decided to be a lawyer. And that's how I wanted to get into now the human rights space. So yeah, it's interesting that it touches everyone differently, but we see the important role that it plays. And now for the video, we've seen Sabina Chege and Farouk. What commentaries do you have before now we get into the convo?
My opinion is a bit different. I feel like this whole thing, when they say serikali ni kina nani, they mean we are the people. The people have the power of putting certain people kwa seats, and there are laws that tunaweza decide kurelease mtu, kuchuja mtu kwa kiti anytime, right? But we know that's a good leader and that's a bad leader, but bado we side with them. Kwa sababu they have sexualized even how people now campaign, right? And you see people cheering. Before that, wanaweza kuongea how the road needs to be made, and it's just another story. But ati akigeuka ako aje? And they've seen it's working and it's giving them cheers. So what do? You add more. It's just a human psychology.
Yeah.
If you talk about sex, they get excited. And that becomes a political tool.
Yeah.
They'll not put it in the manifesto, but they'll mention it. They will use it. Kuna politicians that will get on the podium and outright mention certain things that are very inappropriate. Kwa news usiku, and you know kids are watching.
Yeah.
And they still do it. So how do we grow up? We grow up knowing that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
What they're doing, they don't know the effects of how it will trickle down to even the kawaida mwananchi.
Yeah.
Because now they're training us even to use that in offices, in schools. And that becomes part of us now because Nani was saying it, and that lady was saying it. So my opinion is, if you presented yourself as a leader, then lead. It's that simple. Hatukukuambia usimame. We didn't tell you, we didn't force you.
Yeah.
So, and a leader ni someone we should be emulating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so my opinion is we also are accountable. We should have standards.
Yeah.
Even when people are campaigning, let's have our own standards. That's what alisema wajinga nyinyi. It's all of us.
Yeah.
Awezi sema nani amesema hivyo, and you see part of Kenyans are cheering on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a two-way traffic. Kwa sababu tukiwasimamisha, I promise you, no one else will do it.
Exactly.
If today there's a rally and let's say Farouk asema hivyo, and everyone says no. You think kama someone was ready to say something kwa the same rally, ataisema. Ata hide the points. Say, that doesn't work here.
Yeah, we've given them the confidence.
We've given them the confidence. So it's our fault.
Yeah.
Back to wajinga.
We'll get more into the song because it is speaking truth to power. For Kingwa, as a woman who entered into politics with intentions to make change. What do you think about the video? And take us through the journey of Kingwa getting into.
Yeah, like it actually takes me back to from as far back as student politics. The misogyny that is, it runs so deep in our politics. I remember like we'd have kamkunjis, so which means like there's a podium, you stand up. So I remember like I'd get up and boys are there trying to look under my skirt. Like that was the normal thing. Or your posters and people are like Malaya. In fact, I don't think there's any woman who can run to be a politician and she does not get called Malaya. It's like they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I don't know that. And so there's something about patriarchy and the way our politics is. There's a guy called Ali Mazrui. He was an academic, Kenyan born but based in the States, and he had this thing called the warrior tradition of African politics, which is like the model of our politics is that it's war, and therefore during times of war, women, children, and animals were done what they were supposed to be inside. And so when women come now into this space of war, it's like the system is like, we don't know how to handle her, so let's throw insults, let's act in ways to make any woman afraid to enter this space. And I think that's something that I've been understanding in later years, because you also see it in social media, like insulting women. It's like a woman in politics is like, and so when I see this video, it's just part of that whole framework that the fear of women and power. But I was always curious, like, why is it always sex? Why is it always sex? And just like early in the month, I attended a forum. I don't know, you know, Badili Africa.
Yes.
So they had a forum on one of the weekends, just this month. And there was an MCA who spoke. I forgot her name right now, but she talked about how when she's in the political space, like with her fellow MCAs, she said like it's like they see me, they see a like she said that, and I completely understood it. And so the question of what is this thing about women and sex and like why, like, and it's like it's compulsive. It's like there's a template, and it's not just in Kenya. It's not just in Nairobi. It's not just in Meru. It's global. And I realize that it's something about power. Women's power is in our sexuality. But we are brought up as women. We are brought up being told. First of all, we're not even brought up being told about it. We are brought up being blamed for it. Number one, we are brought up in denial of it, and we are brought up shamed for it. And so because of that, like for example, when I was starting out in student politics, so I've always been like a very like, you know, creative, a bit wild, and so like I used to like wear mini skirts and everything. So I remember the first days when I was going around campaigning, and like people like now the ladies of the like fourth year, they'd be like, "What are you wearing?" and everything. And along the way, I actually started changing my dress code. Like I literally was at a point where I was wearing skirts reaching here. Like I was literally looking like Mother Teresa, like a nun. And like, so I was then taught, I was socialized, like I was programmed that I need to hide my sexuality. I need to present myself as a very asexual being. And so the same thing that when I was doing the national politics, but even in party politics, like the way the guys how they act, especially it was the older politicians, because I found that my age mates, Kina Brian Weke, Kina Jack is now in parliament. Then they were pretty okay, but the older guys, they talk to you in such ways that you'd be like, actually, I remember there's somebody, and I'm going to out him. There was an event happening. I think there was an event happening somewhere, but I distinctly remember him telling me, "Let her happen." Like that's the kind of language that you hear.
Yeah.
So when I see this, that's just the norm.
Yeah.
Sadly, we have a lot of intelligent women in politics. People think that they're bimbos and blondes. No, like, first of all, to be a woman, to even have the guts to get into politics, it means that there's something really exceptional about you. So I look at them as victims of the system that they are in, but it also comes to the kind of politics that we have. It's a very shallow politics, a very empty politics, that because they're not giving anything valuable, because there's nothing because they're not giving anything valuable, because they're actually, like when you said about, making roads and that kind of thing, because of that, because there's nothing valuable being given, sensationalism then becomes the next thing, sex and, like cheap thrills, what are we going to look for? So I look at it as symptomatic of the problem that we are in. We're in a problem of a very failed politics, a very broken politics. And so women are just part of the what's the word? Part of the debris and the like when a building is falling and collateral damage. Yeah.
King Kaka, wajinga nyinyi. Like you can see the video, Sabina Chege laughs. She doesn't say anything, hajakataza Farouk. So do you feel like women we are our own perpetrators? Like sisi ndio tunaendeleza hii scenario, we're not trying to stop. Like what do you think from a male perspective? What comes to mind?
I think there's a lot that comes, even with the scenario of the video. Tuseme Sabina alikuwa na choice. Kusema ya kwenda kuask for the microphone, aseme, I did not appreciate what you just said. Yeah. True or false?
Yeah, true.
But she was just there, the camera right on her. Anacheka. Yeah. And it means now it's okay, right? True or false?
Yeah.
So there's no debate is done. And that's now what we are portraying. That kusema ni wajinga, it means even them. What now we forget ni kwamba what is maybe Sabina aliogopa kusema? Is there like a political interest that goes back to resources to your office? You see?
Yeah.
So utapata linyamaza because there's a tie that goes to that. I have a very high profile politician friend of mine. They're in some fight with the hierarchy in politics. It's because I called them out based on A, B, C, and D. So now even my office is not receiving resources based on how it was.
Yeah.
You see, so bado we are back to the mafia days. People have forgotten they're running countries. Yeah. They're running over 50, 60 million people. The priority should be the people and the development of the country. But we're just playing shallow. And shallow is, now tumerudi back ongea about sex. And now we're sexualizing even quotes kwa podiums. And we're telling the whole country, this is okay.
Yeah.
Na itakuwa kwa news usiku. And people will share it as memes and we will laugh about it. But what is the reality? Let's just break it down. If it was the other way around, also, let's think about it. Abu imagine if it was the other way around. But we've seen videos where women are talking even about sex.
Yeah.
Na wanaongea mambo ya shot moja.
Let me even play that.
Kunayo. Kuna women wanasema wanaume wa nguvu ni wa kwenda zaidi ya shot 2, si ndio?
Maybe before you.
And then they equated that to 2 terms.
Oh my gosh.
I read it now. Just wanted to follow up on what you said in terms of how we have normalized conversations that revolve around sex and sexualization. And I remember when we were outside, we discussed how it has become a trade. Yeah. And Kingwa, you've also talked about how you had to cover yourself until, your neck and down to your feet. But at the same time, I wonder, what do the both of you think can be done, first of all, not to normalize the way we have normalized in society? King Kaka spoke about if Sabina Chege would have said, no, this is not the way you speak about me. That is one step. But we are facing a scenario where it looks like it has been embedded in society and accepted. How do you think, what do you think can be done to remove that, to fight it so that it is no longer something that we accept?
One is we can do all the lobbying with organizations, right? And do 100 podcasts, right? We can do that. We can do rallies, demos. My opinion would be we go gangster, and gangster means it's law, and law is punishment, right? Sababu, like I said, this thing is linked back to your office. If it's linked back to your office, inamaanisha Sabina maybe aongei sababu anajua my docket will not receive resources A.
Yeah.
So now it means you even lower your standard as a human being. Unajua, you will laugh with everyone else. But you know that thing hurts you, right? Say, kwa sababu Sabina akona mtu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, akona mtu home.
Akona
The husband is like, well, what these people are talking about my wife. My wife's sex life. And she's there clapping. And she'd come home and explain and say, oh, sijali, yani, unajua, sasa ningezusha hapo. Pia watu wangenichukulia jarafu mimi ni mwanamke, you know, I can, this guy is like on top of the food chain, right? So what if now, with the activism to help and just information and sensitizing people, but the reality is if this thing is not law, punishable law, then it doesn't cut. Tutapiga hizi story mpaka next year. And next year but one.
Yeah.
See, elections are coming.
Yeah.
You guys will send me clips, I promise you. I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I promise you. Yeah.
And Kingwa, I just wonder, in your opinion, because sometimes even women wearing, let me call them polo necks, yeah, to hide everything. There are times that even this does not work, in the sense that you will be, there will be something else that will be pointed out, and you're told you're not married, therefore we really can't accept you in this space. So it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. How do you, as a woman who has been in politics before, how do you handle that catch-22 scenario that politics throws at you?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and catch-22 is the correct word. And there's there's a, you remember the bird's eye view, normal eye view, and then worm's eye view. So when we look at the bigger picture, it's about power, and who owns the power? Like what is the spirit of the power? So for example, let me give an example. Because the spirit of the power and what are we doing with the power? What have we seized power for, or what have we been granted power for, is what will determine the actions of the players on the stage. Like for example, if you look at people in history that had really noble ideals and greatness, like Julius Nyerere, you'd never see some of this kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
So I'd say that it's about the way, for me, because I'm very, having gone through that whole journey, I'm now like on the completely different end. I'm no longer negotiating now for me, my experiences have made me, I see people I see women being accused and being shamed of being feminists today. You're a feminist. I was a feminist 20 years ago when I was in college. Now I'm a female supremacist. I believe that women are the superior gender. I believe that women are more powerful, more intelligent, more resilient than men. And I have a lot of rage about it because I grew up with being told the opposite.
Yeah.
I grew up being told, oh, women, you're the weaker sex. Women, you should be seen, not heard. Like, I'm the only girl in my family. So I was always just seeing the gender dynamic, it was always so fascinating to me, and it was always so clear who has the power. What is the power? What does it mean? Like, so seeing the double standards. And so I think maybe that's why I'm here, because I really tried to contort myself, like, but as a woman, you can never be good enough for patriarchy.
Yeah.
You can never be good enough for patriarchy. Nothing you do. So that's why I'm like, you know what? That's a joke. Now let me be a female supremacist, because that's how I can breathe. Then I don't care. You want to tell me, oh, I'm not married. I will marry 5 husbands if I want to. I will not marry. Like, I'm no longer responding to. Have you ticked this list that will make you now a respectable woman in our eyes? Let me tell you, I like, the reason I am like this so radical is because I tried that, and it is so dehumanizing. And you see it happening to you see how such brilliant, intelligent women are treated, and so the answer is that we need an extremely radical shift. We need to step into women power. We need to step into, like, there's this whole idea like we're replacing the patriarchy with a matriarchy, and it's not genital wagging contest. It's not about ego. It's about where even are we in the world right now. We're in a world which is crumbling. We're in a world which is not taking care of people. We're in a world where politics is a parasite, where politics is vampiric. It is eating, it is leeching off the people. It is not nurturing them. It's because of our history of colonialism. Kenya was not set up to nurture people. Kenya was not set up to take care of people. Kenya was set up to extract, to exploit. Yeah. And so even what we see the leaders doing right now, they're just doing what the system told them to do. Yeah. And even the reason that we are electing people like William Ruto, it is because he's the very best person to help capital exploit and extract from the people. So, but we are seeing we're in this age of late stage capitalism where it is not working, where it is not. It's like the next 10 years, things cannot continue as it was. Like we saw with the Gen Z riots, like we are seeing around the world, all these riots. And so the example that I give of progressive possibilities, people, when I even talk about that women power, that matriarchal power, I think all of us may have been following the New York elections, Zoran Mamdani. To me, that is what power, that is what, he's a man, yes, but he exemplifies what I call feminine power of woman, because it's a very nurturing power. It's a very real power. It's a grounded power. It's a power of not like, for me and myself and what we can do for ourselves, but what are we doing for the people? In fact, not even what are we doing for the people, because that's also a bit of a scam, but what are we doing collectively? What are we doing together? And So just start thinking about, because the current politics, it traumatizes. When you're talking about like Sabina as an example, as an individual and her family, that it traumatizes everyone. You know how we say that patriarchy hurts men as much as it hurts women. Maybe even it hurts men more. It's just that they don't talk. Us women, we talk. In the UK, even today, I was listening recently about how MPs were talking about, like, they have, a lot of them like have suicidal ideation. They have to have support groups where they're talking about how, like, mental health issues. They walk around with a bulletproof vest. Like, the way the politics has gotten so violent today, it's not sustainable. Yeah. Like, this is not even me. I'm not talking from my idealism. Like, the politics is not sustainable. So even all these things that I'm saying, it's about that this is the next outcome that we now need to start working, organizing, mobilizing towards. I don't want to say we, because I still have anger about the politics. I'm still not sure to what extent I want to be part of it, because even my own getting into politics was a bit of a trauma response. It was not coming from the healthiest place. So that's a very roundabout answer. Yeah.
You've talked about radicalism, and I want to get to a campaign that you did, because I want us to discuss, do we need that radicalism? Because I remember when I had Wajenga Nini, and the last bit, when you hear that gunshot, you know what it means without knowing what it means. And then also, so acha nicheze hii video. And then now we'll speak to the Ngodales campaign. And do we need to be radical now?
Mzuri, mwanaume aliye na afya na akili timamu aendangi raundi moja. Anaendanga raundi moja. Na nyinyi wa mama unajua yule mwanamume mmoja si yule anaenda one round. Si anaenda raundi ya pili na ya tatu. Sasa mnataka kushukisha William Ruto one round. Una hii mbegu yangu ikimix mnaonaje? Ndio sababu nasema mimi leo sirudi na hii weather.
Siku hizi wanaume wamesahau, wanatupiga na mapanga, wanatupiga na marungu, na Mungu aliwapatia kitu ambaye wanatakana kutupiga nayo.
Nataka kuuliza hapa na munishike vizuri. Mtu anasikianga utamu saa zile yuko ndani ama nje?
Yes. So do we need to be radical?
What is the level of, when you say radical? I think there are levels and steps.
Exactly. Because you've done the Ngodales campaign.
No, I did not.
You didn't?
Oh, that was I was trolling. You know trolling? It used to be a troll.
Yeah.
Like, I was trolling. So then the media used to pick it up and act as if it was true.
Okay. So then what do we need to do? Because we've seen the Gen Z protests. We've seen now artists like you come out and make music to speak to the people. What do we need to do to change the systems? Because we keep having the conversations and we keep going back to the same thing.
All right, let me pick up. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I will cut you short.
No, it's okay.
But on the radicalism, so all that was trolling. I think a lot of the politics was trolling politics because I was just so, the thing of satire. Like you're seeing all this madness and like if you're trying to engage in an area of madness, if you're trying to be normal, you're gonna look mad yourself. So that's kind of the spirit of what I was doing. So there was that. There was this thing that I was calling the Kenya Sex Party. And I just wake up and say ridiculous things. So I had a really good time with that. And people really believed it, which I like. Because I was also at such a dark place. I was at such a dark place. So, and when I look back, that saved me because it gave me, it brought in a sense of fun. Like it made me, I had something to laugh about. Because before I was feeling so, it's like I was carrying the pain of the country in my heart. Like I was like, such a heavy energy. So that really made it lighter. But even with the Kenya Sex Party, one of my aunties, beautiful, my mother's sister, church lady, family woman, those people, she really wants to help. So she came, she's like, I really want to, but I'm trying to think, what do I tell the people in my church about this party of yours?
The Kenya Sex Party.
Because I think when there's a bit of, I think in politics, I kind of I'm a bit of an artist. So, and when I'm doing something, I'm not even thinking about, I'm more of I'm just doing it, whatever. But so her saying that was so eye-opening for me that, because people would think there's something wrong with her for coming to, but I am, there's an importance of the radicalism.
Yeah.
Because we have such concentration of madness. We have such a strong concentration of mental illness. And when I say mental illness, in the sense of we are such a traumatized population that we are fixed. You know that what they say, the analogy they give of the elephant when it's small and it's tied to a small stump and then it grows up, but it doesn't want to live there. So we're still there. We're still in that, our brains, and which is why I like that song, that the problem is not the politicians alone. It is also the Kenyans, because you go around campaigning, the way you get attacked. I don't blame politicians because I've been on that side. So there's the issue is both the politicians. Is my eyelash falling off?
It's fine.
It is. So there's an aspect of the politicians, but there's also an issue with the citizens themselves. Because you look at Boniface Mwangi, for example, and as an example of somebody that has the nation at heart, that he's really been at the forefront of calling out a lot of atrocities. He's really almost given his life to try to make things better. But the way people attack him, the way people... So in terms of radicalism, we need. It is falling off. I think I have glue somewhere. We do need radicalism. The guy called Frantz Fanon. You know Frantz Fanon?
No.
It's fun.
Yeah. So one of the things he talks about, because he talks about the psychology of colonized people in formerly colonized places, and when he talks about violence, there's a whole chapter, I think it's titled on violence, and he says that the colonizer will only move with violence. Violence is what makes the colonized individual suddenly feel that and realize that I'm now a full human being. Because right now as Kenyans, we are still not. We are still second-class citizens. We've not stepped into our full dignity. So he actually recommends violence as a strategy to psychologically heal. Yeah, and also for another analogy is also for women, that a battered woman, that the moment she takes the whatever and turns it back on her abuser, that's her now. She's that's her healing. Yeah.
Okay.
So I I had just released Wajinga Nyinyi, right? And I didn't know the level of what Wajinga Nyinyi would do, right? When I released, because I was so tired. I was from a gig in Dubai, so I got home. I published the video. I slept, put my phone on silent. I wake up around midday, and the whole country is on fire, right? Like news bulletin number 1 midday. Rapper Kennedy Ombima has just released a song called, and everyone is posting this thing. My mom is calling me from Oshago and I'm nini umefanya napigiwa simu. I just started panicking, right? I didn't know what to do. And the level of what you asked is, I remember there's a high-profile politician wanted now to get to me directly, right? And one of the person who was sent to me was a fan. This person calls me. Akaniambia, King, uko mahali unaweza ongea, tafuta simu ingine nikupigie nayo. So I talked to this guy and he tells me, fanya hivi, mimi nimetumwa kwako. Lakini naona uko na familia ndogo. You take care of the family. Achana na hii mambo ya nchi.
Kutuma kukuua.
Yeah. Akaniambia achana na hii mambo ya nchi. You know? So hata kama you're trying to fight for, and that was just one of them. I had like 4, 5, 6 incidences. I mean, the president called, we talked now, Nauru, right? And him was just funny. He's like, come to the State House, come to kule lunch. You know, Uru is Uru, man. But I was afraid, right? I was scared.
Yeah,
I remember I had just released it December at a time when people wanna celebrate. And it took us through the whole December. Everyone was posting Wajinga Nyinyi, everyone. Actually, that's the first Kenyan song to hit 1 million views in one day. It has never happened, ever again.
Wow, okay.
That just shows you
the
impact, right? But also, people, I never talked about what I went through with that song. It was so crazy, and the politicians were calling me, wanting to threaten people, random people. It was crazy. But now, from my point, that this is King Kaka, right? Now, I imagine just random people who want to really fight for the country. What would happen to them? Because now, eventually, I got security. There's an NGO that came through. It's like, I even had trust issues. We want to protect you. I was like, who are you?
Which was it, coalition?
No, justice something, right?
Okay.
So they told me, call John Alenamu, you'll verify. They gave me like 4 people. I had to, I was saying, nani. So they came home, they had lawyers, and they're like, we're here. If you want to seek asylum in any country, we'll take you. It was that bad. We even planned for it. But then I said, hey, but my mom is still in the country, man. They said, okay, we'll protect you from here. And I had cancelled all my shows in December. They said, don't cancel, we'll take you. So I used to go for gigs. I felt like a politician. I had like 15 cars.
What?
Uko ndani I'm performing, I'm singing, this guy alikuwa home, yani, I'm singing, my security guys wako mbaka kwa crowd, you know. If I was flying to Coast, I had a gig in Mombasa, my guard already walikuwa shot. They had weapons in the plane. When I landed, I had a separate car. They say you have to live your life to show that we are not afraid of what you said. People you have to, because if you hide, it means now they've won.
Yeah.
But the experience was so, and people tell me every day, sutoa jinga nyingine. Asile kama mjakuwa erevu na ile. But also the other reason ni hiyo, like, I got kids out, nataka kwenda graduation ya wangu in uni, right? Yeah, man.
Was it worth it? Like,
It was. I feel like the reference that people make up to today for Wajinga Nyinyi is massive, and there was an awakening, right? There was an awakening then, even when we were doing the maandamano, people were doing a lot of references. Because the same issues that I said then if I play Wajinganyinyi right now, is they're fresh issues. It means we haven't moved an inch.
Yeah.
I can even add 5 more minutes because now we have more problems.
Actually, that's true.
You know? Yeah, so that's the flip side and the downside of it.
Yeah.
Like they protected me because I'm King Kaka.
Yes.
They came to me. But now another Kenyan who's so passionate about the country, what will happen to them? All right? There are so many ways and agendas that were addressed, but also the risks that were involved. She's just mentioned that people are killed.
Yeah.
And it's the sad thing about death, you die today, we print your T-shirts the next 3 days. Next week, we are back to our offices.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes, 4 or 5 days, 2 weeks. And the summary of your 40 years, 30 years is imeisha in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, acha mimi niishi. When I have things to say, acha niishi.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Kaka, what I'm learning from your example ni radicalism ni small step lakini it has a ripple effect. And I take it back to your video ya Sabina Chege. Kama ange step down her foot and say, no, this is unacceptable. You cannot speak to me in this way. That is all it takes. You don't need a whole movement.
Yeah, that moment would have changed the whole...
It would have changed the entire
the whole,
narrative.
Narrative of campaigning through that.
Using sexualization,
But yeah, Lika. And we said, Ataya Meka. Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
So now in uni, someone will say it.
Yeah.
In high school of the campaign, they will say it.
Yeah, it trickles down.
Because our leaders are doing it. We're learning from them. Because that eventuality of us being there is now.
Is now.
Yeah. And it's also highly likely part of their normal culture, which she knew about when she was getting in. So us being surprised, there's nothing to be surprised about because they knew what they signed up for.
Yeah.
And that's just part of what it comes with.
So is it the systems? Because what we have seen at the grassroots level and when we were doing the documentary is that there are political parties. So you can run as an independent candidate or in a political party. When you're in a political party, you are under someone. So what the party says or what the dynasty says, ndio kile utafanya. So then what do we do? How do we change the system? Do we just run as independent candidates? Like what did you do in your experience? Because you dropped, did you proceed?
So I was with the Labour Party of Kenya. So the election was in 2012. At first it was supposed to be August. Then it pushed to December. Then it was pushed to March 2013. By February 2013, we were done, had no energy, had no nothing. So it ended up, we weren't even on the ballot. We had been running a very shoestring budget. Like we were trying to take on, we were taking on the impossible, basically.
Presidency.
And, but to answer the question, is that there's a vacuum for leadership. And even when you look at it just from a market, like just looking at it like business, like there's a vacuum where good leadership is needed. Not good leadership of being on podiums and shouting, but actual on the ground, like you're actually transforming people's lives. Again, the way Zoran was doing. So there's a vacuum, and so there needs to be a crop, ideally a crop of people coming together, with similar values, similar ideals, and just coming in as a force. Because one person at the hour of one MP, you enter like when you're such few people with ideas, with values that are different from everyone else, and you're saying that you're going to change things, you're the one who's going to be changed. Like we've seen a lot of people that we had a lot of hopes in, a lot of people that we really believed in, but now they're just like everyone else. So like the entire system needs to be thrown out. Like and so what we need to be doing is setting up, helping nurture new leaders, people with ideals, people with vision. And it needs to be a very deliberate. It needs to be a very, very deliberate and intentionally done.
than for King Kaka. Now, she's talked about money, finances, and ideals. You are in Lions Den, the money. So how can we bring, because women have told us hawana pesa. They don't have money for running campaigns. And if you want good governance and we want these people to come into the political space, we need money. So as a person who's brilliant in marketing and business, and you're an artist also, just advise us, what can we do? How can we help the Kingwas?
And that money story is a long one. But how I look at it is, and she can attest, right? So when you're running campaigns, there's usually few criteria on how you can get money. Kuna ile uko na pesa yako unaona sasa mimi naweza, right? And campaigning is expensive because Kenyans wakikuona, the first thing is nipatie, niwachi anatoa ngapi, right? So one, that's a knowledge. You have to feed that beast.
Yeah.
The beast has been in existence. Kama utoi, people don't listen to you, right? So that means you need to have money. Before that, you might be a very brilliant leader. I mean, your ideas can change the course of how we can bridge the gap of industrialization. But though will now limit you, right? And those now want to invest in your campaign. They have interest. This whole thing is the business. They have interest. And the interest ni working here is a barabara zote ni za Minda supply mandazi na chapo, right? For the next 5 years. Na mandazi moja tutaweka ni 200 shillings. 500 ni 1,000 shillings. I mean, kulikuwa na Bairo NYS ilikuwa 9,000. Guys, mnashtuka.
9,000.
Yeah. Go check the budget. Bairo ilikuwa 9,000. One Bairo pen.
I remember the NYS scandal.
Yeah. You know? So those who fund you, and that's why unapata now the shuffles are restricted to a certain number of people. And if they are shuffled, it's just a political game. Ni one docket to the other, but it's the same people. So now when it comes to your donor, who's funding you? What are the interests? If it's the public, then that becomes your interest and your movement. So, and how resourceful is that as well? Umeelewa? It changes, that limits us. Money that limits sana for a very long time. My wish is if only people would buy into ideologies, right? One of the main reasons why William got into power, William had an amazing manifesto. Hata mimi niliona nikasema, Yesu, right?
Yeah.
He had an amazing manifesto. Not just the points. Me, I'm a graphic designer, right? Hata ule msali design your manifesto. Ni mnoma, right? And that is what most of us even bought.
Yeah.
Because how the presentation, the branding, these people understood they were eyeing a seat.
Yeah.
And they needed to cover it in some way and present it to us, which is now opposite of what we were given, right?
Yeah.
But this whole thing is now how the reality is lazima ido itoke from someone. So how do we get it? Which now is the mindset and the culture of the people. So will these people now accept you without giving them the 200 shillings?
Exactly. Yeah.
It boils down to that question. Tunakusikiza kwa nini na hujatupatia
pesa?
Na hujaleta basi 200 za watu. So your campaign itakani kama you have no reach. Even the top dogs are still faring people in buses, in 300 buses.
Yeah.
So that the campaign looks presentable.
Yeah.
Jioni mkiona kwa news unasema, am I the only one who doesn't support him or support her? Unaanza kumfikiria, unaanza kumwaza like, maybe let me give him a thought. It's a psychological game.
Yeah.
And it's marketing, basically. It's marketing 101.
Yeah.
The question that is about who is funding, what are their interests. You know, when I look back, I think that a lot of the money that's in politics is an illusion, is a facade. You remember there's a guy called Livondo?
Yes.
And the helicopter.
Yes.
And even when we hear about Sonko and then like a lot of it is literally theater.
Yeah.
Because I look back 20 years ago in campus, we in Sonu there was an executive of 17 people, and there were only 2 seats that were reserved for women. So that was the treasurer and gender affairs secretary. So by third year, in third year, myself and a group of other women student leaders, now it wasn't after the elections, and we were just so angry. So we went around the campuses talking, radicalizing girls.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, what the hell is happening? Because like so many issues of students would happen, like rape, insecurity at night. But nobody was bringing out those issues. So we went around radicalizing the female students. Let me tell you, the next election, the number, that 17, which 2 was supposed to be for women, it moved from 2 to 7. So for the first time in history, we made history.
Yeah.
We had 7 women in Sonu. We had Grace Bomu, I don't know if you know her, in Parkland's campus. We had Asha, I think Adan in Lower Kabete campus. Martha Wangare, the MP right now, I think she came in as one of the on one of the seats, because we later colonized some of those seats. Like they actually became official women's seats.
Yeah.
That was the vice chair academic affairs. So I think the year later, Martha Wangare, is she the MP for Gilgil? So that was her. So we didn't have money. I remember we came together, the female students. We decided to do a breakfast meeting. It was so organized. When I look back,
You're so proud of yourself.
We had a breakfast meeting at YMCA. I think each person was supposed to either contribute 350 shillings or 500 shillings. Then we invited some women leaders. We invited Njoki Ndongo. We invited Ann Kerema. I think she was like a businesswoman in town. We invited Professor Lea Marangu, the vice chancellor of Nazarene, the founder of Nazarene University. And so it was from that just that anger, that organizing. So we adopted candidates, like you have to run. They didn't have money, they didn't have ties, they didn't have, but did you see what happened? So when we say, I don't think it's about, money is key, but we have to get, a big part of the money is performative. It's also an illusion created so that as a barrier to enter, so that anyone with good ideas, I don't have money, I can't do anything. Yeah. So I strongly believe that such a kind of thing is possible. It's interesting that we think we are the only ones that are angry about the state of things. But the truth is that the majority of people are actually upset. So it's about, the question is, are we organizing them? Are we reaching out? Like it literally needs to be rolling up the sleeves and look for people like, wow, nasimama hapa. And because the people that we then pick are people that are already doing work in the communities, but maybe that they don't have that ego of, let me now go be famous and everything, or they don't believe in themselves. So I strongly believe that there's a model. It's possible to set up a model, and I like that you talked about even the possibility of fundraising for with the public. So if we just get like a platform that we are then coordinating this from and helping them, I think it's possible. I think something is possible.
Kenyans are excited. They're willing to do. Morara did a fundraising, right? Yeah, and he set up a campaign. Kenya walimulia gari, and there was a float of him moving now around just to expose these things. And Kenyans are willing.
On a Gen Z protest, and a lot of Gen Zs walikuwa wameumia. There was a lot of fundraising for them to, hata kuita Red Cross wakuje, they were always on the ground to assist. Na watu walimobilize, hata watu wako hospitali. So I do agree that venye umesema, money imewekwa so performative. And King Kaka, I remember we discussed the way money imekuwa as a trade for sex in the political scene. And Kingwa is pointing out that there is actually a way apart from this other side of using sex for money, for politics, by mobilizing for each other. Venye mulifanya from school, having women mobilize for other women. Alafu, sometimes Liz can attest to, we've interviewed political mobilizers who are not in politics, but they mobilize for women in politics. And I see it. I'm impressed. It starts from campus. That's an interesting concept to bring into the political space.
So do we need to remove sex from politics, or we keep it there? Because some women are using it as a tool, and then it's also an issue because women are also being sexualized. So how do we remove it, and do we need to remove it?
Well, you see, the problem is naweza kuwa na kutetea, right? Alafu nimekuwa na ile kitu na kutetea about you're doing it. So now my passion of me being your lawyer changes.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not, it's the same thing. So now this whole thing starts with them. Hata tukifanya hapa, they need to be involved wajue the level and magnitude of what they're doing and how it affects even the future politicians.
Yeah.
Because now even the public now wanna embrace as part of your campaign. And that's why you see even politicians they would dress a certain way now, right? Because they know they're sexualizing even. There's a way I need to look. There's a way like women, right? You've seen wanaongea mambo around in a public place. And they know the cameras that are going to broadcast this thing today.
Yeah.
And they're going back to their families.
Watoto pia
Now
wako
watoto up and they're watching their parents. You have to look at it. I always look at when someone does something, I always trace it back to the family. Like, sister yako anasema nini? What is your mother saying? What is, like, the immediate people. Achana na sisi tumekujua baadaye. Those who now raised you, or they cover you with love, what are they saying?
Yeah.
When you brace your opinion to the public. So I always look at it from that unit, the unit of where you go back to, and those people who talk to you on a regular, right? There's that, and then now you are a representation of what we believe in as society.
Yeah.
We're a leader. You know, leader is not such a, and these people want to know Bibles and the Quran, so they on a smama and they pray, where they go to events, right? So what are we teaching now? Everyone, because it's under your leadership. But I always look at it from mindset. What type of leader would say that?
Yeah.
How's your intellect? And based on that, angalia huyo mtu amefanya nini. Just anytime they make such a comment, go to their development track record. You'd be surprised that most of those that say that, they don't do much.
Yeah.
Because they have now turned this thing into a circus, right? And one of the, I don't know kama ni Omanga, alisema around the Senate, kuna women who sleep their way around to just get trips. So that wapate what? Allowances. You see, even within themselves, they know what's going on.
Yeah,
and they have weaponized the sex to get favors even for their dockets. So this thing is deep-rooted.
It is.
Yeah.
But my biggest aspect, whenever nikionanga yo naangalianga based on type of leader that you are. I promise you, most of the people who say such things,
Empty the base.
I promise you, ukienda angalia their development track record, I'm not even surprised. Those who are intelligent, they would never say such things in public. And if you go check their track records, they are performing.
Yeah.
I want to time monkey business. Yeah. That's how I look at it. For me, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Actually, nimekusikiza nikasema, I wish voters would think like that.
I promise, it's so simple.
Mostly we don't.
We're excited about the 200 shillings because you know what they've done? The economy is it's plunging, and they've made us worship 100 shillings and 200 shillings. And people fight
for it.
for 200. Umeshinda the whole afternoon. Umepewa 500 shillings. Maziwa ni how much?
More than 50.
60. Mkate?
60, 100.
Inaosha pia nye mkono dogo. Nilikuwa naambiwa kama
Hapana, sasa si ni
nilikuwa naambiwa kama
grams.
ujumbe ya maziwa na mkate. Wewe ni mdosi.
Sinaona, that's what I was
Hapana, nyinyi
thinking.
wadosi,
Nilikuwa
yeah.
nafikiria so
Hapana,
kuna
nyinyi
hii.
wadosi.
Alafu
So basically 500 shilling will only last you a day.
Absolutely.
Basically, say for 5 years, I'm going to buy for a day. I want you to think about it. For 5 years, he's bought you for a day. Amekwambia leo, it's on me. Your breakfast, your lunch. Na imeisha hivyo. You'll never see this person again. He changes lines, nini, access yako. But you know now, it's you to blame. Wewe ndo mjinga. Yako huko ako Geneva, ako wapi, ana talk about how you'll make your life better. And I'll give you 500,000 jobs. And where are they? You know?
Yeah.
But you sold it. You sold your card for 500. You sold your 5 years for 500, yeah.
you need to look beyond the day. Sasa ni hierarchy of needs hapo.
But we are so poor.
Yeah.
I have to go for that 500.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Sijui unaelewa?
Yeah.
And ameweponize 500. Oh, inakaka pesa mingi.
Ni pesa mingi.
Kuna punch tuishie. Because vijana wako base.
Yeah.
An opportunity to get 500, I'll go. Hatujapatia opportunity ingine to overlook the 500. The 500 imejengwa so supreme. That's all now we're thinking.
Yeah.
Mimi nikipata so tano. Politician atujengange anatoaga so. Ule anatoaga punch. And so you respect that person more.
Yeah.
And you tend to vote for that person.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I can see you in deep thoughts.
Because I'm thinking about there's a level of desperation in this country that I think the Kenyan middle class are so disconnected from. Like there's such a level of desperation. One of my brothers is an artist, and I was remembering he sang about during COVID, the woman who was forced to boil stones for her children. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember that
During
story.
COVID, there was a woman
Yeah.
like you have nothing, that you're boiling stones, just to psychologize yourself that
there's
these kids
something.
have.
Yeah.
That there's a level of desperation and even beyond desperation, disconnection. Because you then, like, where are her family? Where are her brothers, sisters, parents, aunties, uncles? And there's a part of the problem of today is that we are disconnected as a people. Our social ties are so weak and so fragile, and so because of that, the only person that then seems to speak to us is who? The politician. And until there's a guy who wrote a book about community, the role of community and the decline in community orientation, that there's a reason that 40 years ago, the politics was not like this, because there was still that sense of community. Like, yeah, maybe they were invasive, but kulala njaa was, so there's we need to look at that, bring back community, like, how, like,
Ubuntu.
yeah, and but in even a practical way, and maybe even using tools of this technology to, like, somebody can say that, like, a platform where, okay, if you don't have food for your family today, just sign up, like, just say I need. And of course people are like, oh, Kenyans will be lazy and won't go to work, so that, but I actually believe people want to work. People want to be dignified. I truly believe people want to be dignified. I don't think people, there's some, but that's also indicative of there's some psychological issue that they need to be helped out of. That until because the politicians, they prey on that desperation. And until we speak to that desperation, until we do something about it, until we've actually held hands, we in good faith, we can't castigate people for the election, for the choices that they make. Yes, like because I've been on both on the side of. Okay, but and then also now to answer the question about women being sexualized in politics, it's a two-way game. So first of all, there's the sexual attacks that women are getting from the public, and so I understand why women like it's exactly there's a way of even me, like the way I'm dressed, like it's very like I'm very, because you know that as a woman in politics, I remember I told you about how you'd try to look like Mother Teresa, and but like that does not work. So let me go on the offensive. Like before you attack me, let me come for you.
Yeah.
So I can understand why women would, but maybe the strategy they're doing it is not effective. It
best, yeah.
doesn't is not effective. But then also there's a question of media, that the media is the gatekeeper. So why is the media allowing certain forms of expression to be, like, why is not it normalizing? Like the lady, she apologized, but why? But if she had just, if the media just said, this is nonsense, we're not broadcasting this level of foolishness, that will be leadership. So there's failures on different levels of leadership in the ecosystem. And the media, and I've been in media, is one of the places. Although there's also been, like, I love how the journalists these days are feeling that they can have a voice, they can give an opinion, but they need to recognize that they have more power. They can literally decide, this is a miscreant, this one is we don't want, like, the media can literally decide if they want to, but then again, the money side of things, the money side of things, and but also advertising,
ratings,
who owns the media,
the selling rates,
yeah. So, but I actually I can see it is possible to change the politics. Yeah, I can see how it is possible.
Yeah. So now, as we end, tomorrow we start the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And we want you to give advice to women who maybe want to join politics in 2027 and beyond. Give them something. Word of advice. What do you want to tell them?
You know the concept of gender equality. Sometimes it's just a concept, right? But if you look at it, the reality of it is we want to value you the same way we value men, right? So my advice and my pick would be just step in the field like everybody else. Have your values, follow them, and find a way to be a leader. Because when you decide, right? Even though maybe people around you have pushed you to it, they have seen leadership tendencies. But the reality is there's obstacles that you'll face. Vile amesema, ati alikuwa anasimama and people would grab her. And it still happens. I've seen incidences. It still happens. So you have to grow. It's so sad that they have to grow an extra thick skin. Apart from knowing that they might win or lose, now you have to need another layer that will help you fight how people reason because of your gender. But the reality is, when you get there, now let's address things the way they are. Come and call out V2, let's do that, because that's how we start. If we don't call things out, sisi kama watu wa public, we look bad. Sisi ndo tunakaa wabaya. They're not talking about it. They're grown-ups. They know they should be talking about it. They are not. Why are we in a podcast talking about it? And they are at a podium and kwa national news, where over 10 million people will be watching tonight. Sisi now we have to create initiatives where directly now try and talk to a niche number of Kenyans, and try and convince them to convince another niche, another community. Yet they have, if today any of the politicians were issuing news, right now in the next 30 minutes, there will be 40, 50, 60 media houses. True or false?
True.
So let's do that. And if we have power to also get these politicians who have power to call these 60, 70 people tomorrow, let's initiate. Waite waseme, this comes to an end, and this is how we'll operate. But when you get to politics, they say politics is a dirty game. Huko ndani kuna so many things that we don't understand from the public. Only we think that, hiyo si poa, actually sema si poa. Was he or she paid to say that? There's another aspect to even what people say in public. There's a politician friend of mine, aliletewa pesa akapewa pesa the night before a bill kwa parliament. Akaambia wewe hizi ndo talking points zako kesho. And this guy was like, King, what do I do, bro?
Kata.
Hawezi kataa, umeshaachiwa do.
Watachuja.
Who you sending the money back to? Who?
Imeshaweka kwa mlango.
Announcement, whoever brought this money.
Nakuuliza. Hawezi.
Yeah.
Na kesho ukifika, you have to say, I'm also speaking, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Na wewe utaanza, and you know it's not true, conviction. Na uko hapo unasema, listen,
Yeah.
this is what I think. I'm pro the bill and da 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 da. Because now there are things we don't understand that are in illegal structures within our leaderships that even give them points to talk about that are not them. They have to keep that fake system going on. And that's why most of the issues that we think should be addressed are not being addressed. And we think that's politics.
Yeah.
So even the next lady who's joining politics, naona sasa mimi nataka nikuwe ningie na mamini tu. Ningie na mamini skirt na nikuwe naongea vile. Si mnaona vile nimejaa? Kwa hivyo ndo ndajaza hii community. Na si mnaona vile niko na smile poa. Hivyo ndo barabara zitakuwa kama smile yangu. Na si mnaona nimejaa huku juu. Na nyuma. Hivyo ndo mfuko zenye zitajaa, okay? I promise you. Unaona hii speech nimesema? Mtaiona 2027.
Mtu ataichukua.
Please muikate, ataichukua word for word.
Yeah.
You see, unaona vile tumecheka? That's what the people will be doing. So Naki, she's funny. Me, I'll vote for her. But what is she saying? I'm just sexualized. Ataenda home jioni kwa mtoto wake na the husband.
Yeah.
Back to that unit I was talking about. So ni values gani wameluzuko? She'd rather lose those values. But again, fake value that gives her this value.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot to think
I
about.
need to take that in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So, King Kaka, you asked why are they not talking about the things that they need to talk about, the leaders. And we assume that people are healthy, but there's an epidemic of mental illness in this country. And for me, that's why even it's I don't think they're malicious. I don't think they do it because they're necessarily malicious. I don't even think they're evil per se. I actually think it's because they're very traumatized individuals that have never dealt with the issues of their background, of their past. And so their minds are so pent up with that they don't have the energy to actually do what they need to do as leaders. In fact, that's something that I've been talking about, that the problem with our politics is that just traumatized men just going around traumatizing the society. And I was saying this when Honorable Raila passed away, and there was a guy, was he a governor, who said some really nasty stuff. Just some very tribal thing that he said. And a lot of the people in our politics are traumatized. They're carrying such wounds, and they're just going around bleeding on everybody else. And we need to take that seriously. There was even a time I was saying that we need to do a campaign to ban men from politics for 30 years until they heal. Because they don't introspect, they don't look into themselves. And all of us can see, like, what the hell, what is this happening? Why do wars happen? Why do wars happen? So many wars could be averted by just having a discussion, but that's not how it happens. So you said politics, like, once you said that women have to have thick skin in politics, but I actually think no. I think women should keep their humanity, because, and the reason that people say you need to have a thick skin is because you get super traumatized. Even me, I've been on a 10-year journey of healing. That's why I'm here. Like, if you'd invited me 5 years ago, I'd be such a shadow of who I am right now. And one thing that I decided is that no matter what, I'm holding on to my humanity. And what happens is that when you try to develop a thick skin, you are carrying the wounds within yourself and you're silencing yourself. But energy demands to be released. Like like you're carrying that grudge and it will turn up in your leadership. Like hakuna roho safi. Actually, yeah. Like hautakuwa na hiyo roho safi because having been traumatized. And that's why I wrote this book. I hadn't talked about it earlier. It's titled My Soul Begins to Flower.
Yeah.
And it's a poetry book. And I wrote it, so I've been writing poems for like the last 25 years, like for a long, long time. And I've just been collecting them differently. But this year I put this together because I went through an incident where within my family where two particular incidences where I was devalued and where I later realized that it had become a culture that you can just behave to me the way you want to. And like all this time, I was like, okay, but I reached a point where I'm like, no, like it has to stop somewhere. So, because I used to gaslight myself, like, oh, I'm being overly sensitive, or maybe they didn't mean it. Like, you know, the thing of contorting yourself to allow other people to have space. And I think that's what I'd advise leaders, because it's not just in women in politics, but also leaders. Like, you need to keep your heart, you need to keep your humanity, because the moment you lose your humanity, you've lost everything else. Like you need to just keep that peace with, and it's in the small things and we all know it, like in how we work together. So if I'm a politician and I've gone and these people have attacked me and then I pretend it has not happened, that's a lie. Like we need to have that conversation. Like, what did I do to you? Why did you think it was okay to behave like that with me? Because it's about dignity. It's about respect.
Yeah.
It's about, can we all agree? Can we all agree to be human with each other? Because if you can't be human with me, if I can't be human with you, then we're just wasting time.
Yeah.
And our politics has become such a space of dehumanization, and that's why nothing is working. Because we can't be human with each other. We can't say, you hurt me, you did this to me. And it's not to say that there has to be a solution, but just recognizing that we're not cool. Hatuko poa. Because until that is there, then we're just scamming each other. It's the same thing in politics. It's the same thing in family. It's the same thing in relationships. That there needs to be, we need to be okay. We need to operate from our hearts, not from the stoic like we need to be real. We need to be completely real, that because it's the small things that lead up to the big things. And if I'm interacting with you now, I have a grudge against you, like I'll be chimbaing you. I'll be saying, oh, she's such a... You see? Yeah, exactly. So there'll be no trust. In fact, there'll be no trust. And what can work if there's no trust?
Yeah.
So I'd tell any woman getting into politics, get in and hold on to your heart. Like, be the woman. Don't try to do male politics. Don't be a woman. If people remember me, because in my press conference I cried. And there was a huge hullabaloo. Should a leader cry in politics? But me, I said, I'm going to be human. Period. I'm not letting politics rob my humanity off of me, and I'm not going to rob anyone off of their humanity by me being in politics.
Are you going to run again in 2027?
That is such an interesting question. And I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Certain conditions have to be present for if I'm going to run. It would be really fun to troll again, like to just do madness. Because I don't know if also... Because I don't know also if people are ready for the change.
Yeah.
And because if you arrive too early and you're speaking such good things, you're going to get frustrated. That was my experience. But I can troll, like that would be fun, like to just do the madness and the foolishness and just have a good time.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We are done, guys. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for honoring our invites. It's very important to us because we are trying to do the work that we are trying to do. So if you also have ideas on who we could have in this space, and also to the viewers, if you know anyone who you would like to see here, I think you can just tell us and we'll try our best to get them here. Yeah.
It's definitely.
Thank you.
Yay! Okay, asanteni sana.